You have felt it. The tightening in your chest the moment you got what you wanted. The title, the office, the respect, and underneath it, a dread you could not name. Most men call that feeling weakness or imposter syndrome. That belief is comfortable. It keeps the problem personal and fixable. It is not personal. It is an old warning in Western thought, lodged in your nervous system. The legend is 24 centuries old. A sword above a throne by a single thread. Power was never the reward. It is the mechanism generating that dread on schedule. Today, we name the mechanism inside your own chest. This is the envy illusion, the law that a man always underestimates the cost of a position he has never held. You see the throne gleaming under torchlight. You do not see the thread suspended above it. Carl Jung named the mechanism behind this blindness the shadow. The parts of yourself you refuse to examine get exiled from awareness, then projected outward onto other men instead. The powerless do not simply want the crown. They project their own unexamined fear onto it, and imagine that fear dissolves the instant someone else wears it. It does not dissolve. It concentrates, floor by floor, the higher a man climbs. Every man who has never worn the crown insists he would wear it differently. Lighter, wiser, unburdened. That insistence is the shadow talking, not the truth. This is why the outside view of any powerful life is always a lie of omission. Not false, just incomplete, missing everything that does not photograph well. The mechanism, before you envy any position, run the audit. Name the specific burden bundled inside it. The exposure, the isolation, the debt collected in silence. Only then are you permitted to want it. Most men skip this step entirely because the audit is uncomfortable and envy is free. The average man envies the results and skips the invoice. The strategist reads the invoice line by line and only then decides if the results are worth the price attached to them, which is where the thread stops being metaphorical and starts pressing against the back of an actual, living neck dot. This is the Damocles Reflex, the nervous system's answer to a threat that never fully resolves, no matter how much is won. Biology calls part of this mechanism the winner effect. Victory raises testosterone. Raised testosterone does not produce comfort. It produces appetite, sharpened senses, and hunger for the next contest. The body of a powerful man is not built for rest. It is built for the next threat, and the one after that, permanently primed, rarely permitted to stand fully down. Homeostasis, the body's drive back toward equilibrium, keeps getting interrupted before it completes. An interrupted system does not calm. It simply learns to run hot indefinitely. This is measurable, not mystical. Cortisol and adrenaline do not consult a man's job title before flooding his system. This is not weakness. It is architecture, built one contest at a time. It explains why so many powerful men cannot sit still in a quiet room. The mechanism, each night, name the single sharpest threat you carried that day, and name the exact action you took against it. If no action exists, release the threat before sleep. Do not carry unpaid vigilance into tomorrow's contest, because unpaid vigilance does not disappear. It accumulates. The average man treats this tension as a problem to numb, with noise, with scrolling, with any distraction available. The predator treats it as a resource, spent deliberately and refilled on schedule, never wasted on threats that were never real to begin with. But a body kept permanently primed still needs allies who will tell it the truth. That is a resource most thrones ration to zero. This is the silence tax, the price a man pays in honest information for every year he holds power over others. He pays it whether he notices or not. Game theory explains why the tax is unavoidable. In a repeated game between a ruler and his court, the rational move for a subordinate is not honesty. It is flattery. Flattery protects tomorrow's position. Honesty only risks it. And a rational player protects position over truth almost every single time. Every subordinate is quietly running that calculation. Every day, whether he admits it to himself or not. The room agrees with you not because you are right. It agrees with you because agreement is the safer bet, and safety compounds faster than honesty ever will. Every court in history has run on this same silent arithmetic, whether it called itself a kingdom, a company, or a cabinet. The mechanism: install one voice with standing permission to disagree. Reward the disagreement immediately, visibly, every single time it happens, in front of others. Silence around a throne is never loyalty, however it dresses itself. It is an unpaid invoice arriving later, at the worst possible moment, when the cost of correcting course has multiplied past recognition. The average man collects agreement and mistakes it for respect. The sovereign pays for dissent in advance because he has already done the math on what silence eventually costs a kingdom. But a mind starved of honest counsel is a machine running on bad data. Bad data does not stay contained. It compounds quietly until the whole structure is built on a number that was never true. This is the vigilance debt, the compounding cost of a mind that is never permitted to stand down. Year after year, contest after contest, psychology calls the underlying resource cognitive load. The mind's capacity to monitor, decide, and restrain itself is finite, refreshed only by real, uninterrupted rest. Spend it every hour of every day and the mind does not become stronger. It becomes depleted, and a depleted mind makes worse decisions exactly when the stakes are highest and the room is watching closest. This is why exhausted rulers make careless wars, and exhausted executives make careless calls. A rested version of the same man would never have approved either one. The debt does not announce itself. It simply subtracts a fraction of judgment from every decision made while it is owed. The mechanism: block one non-negotiable hour weekly, where no decision is permitted to enter the room. Not sleep, not distraction. Deliberate, scheduled unloading, the same way a bridge is inspected on a fixed calendar, long before the load ever becomes the collapse. The average man treats exhaustion as proof of dedication and wears it publicly like a medal earned in combat. The emperor treats exhaustion as a debt collector and pays it down on schedule. It never gets to arrive uninvited and collect the full amount with interest, which leaves one question standing. Once the debt is finally paid in full, what does a man do with the sword still hanging over his own head? This is the chosen blade, the final law, and the only real escape from the myth this entire film began with. Nietzsche called the deeper answer amor fati, not mere tolerance of your fate, but the active, deliberate love of it. Thread and all, this is not resignation. Resignation waits for the blade to fall. Ownership sharpens it first. The legend claims Dionysius hung a sword above Damocles to teach a lesson about the true nature of power. The lesson was never that the sword should be removed, or that safety was ever the point. It was that a sovereign learns to live directly beneath the blade, build underneath it, rule from underneath it. A frightened guest simply does not. The mechanism: name the specific risk you now carry by choice. The exposed position, the added responsibility, the target now fixed on your back. Write it down as evidence of ownership, not as evidence of threat. Read it back on the days the weight feels unbearable. A chosen blade above your head is proof that you climbed for it. An unchosen one, hanging over a man who never asked for it, is proof he is still asleep to what he is carrying. The average man spends his entire life trying to cut the thread, or trying to vanish from beneath it entirely. He calls both of these peace. The architect stops fighting the thread and sharpens it into a signal instead. He builds his entire kingdom directly underneath it, in full view of the blade. Let the thread finally do something about it. Drop the fantasy that power was built for comfort. It was never the reward. It was always the mechanism. Define the exact burden you are willing to carry before anyone hands you a crown. Adopt the audit. Measure every position by its invoice, not its throne room. Build 1 hour of scheduled recovery into every week and defend it like a border. Start naming your threats out loud every night until the vigilance stops running silently. Refuse to mistake exhausted for dedicated. A depleted mind is never proof of anything. The thread was never the punishment. It was proof you were finally standing somewhere worth guarding. Become the blade's owner.